Hello everybody and welcome to Memory Gamma. Today we are going to look at the second of the sub-factions for the Federation. We are going to look at the Vulcans, them who have been called the intellectual puppets of the Federation or a noble and wise race, depending on who you ask. So, the Vulcans have appeared in Star Trek since the very, very beginning. The Vulcan starships have appeared almost exclusively in the NX era. There is a couple of ships in here that are Vulcan Vulcan factioned as well. So we have our Dakir classes, these are the ones from NX, and our Surox as well. We then have the Nebula class USS Tucumbra, which is from Take Me Out to the Holosuite in Deep Space Nine, an all Vulcan crew. And we have the USS Intrepid from the original series, the all-Vulcan Constitution class that was destroyed by the giant space amoeba. Now, the Vulcans are quite a big faction in terms of what they've got. They have a lot of ships, a lot of captains, a lot of goodness that they can do. So, we're going to have a look, and we're going to see what we can do, as always. And as always, this is not the hard and fast way to play them. This is the only thing to do. There is a large number of things you can do and things that you probably, should do with Vulcans. Vulcans can be massive powerhouses of damage. They can also be almost unbreakable tanks, which you wouldn't always think about. But, so again, if we think about the era these guys are in, these ships are meant to be commensurate and sort of like on par with the NX Enterprise and the Andorian Battlecruiser. So for that, if I take, for example, the Dakir, just as a thing, you get 3154 with 180 forward, 90 degree secondary arc, and then the maneuver dial this. It's an Excelsior class. Its maneuver dial, movement arcs, and stat line are equal to an Excelsior. However, it's in the NX era. So if you imagine doing an era game where the Federation player is running NX Enterprises, 2 attack, 3 defense, 3 hull, and no shields. There's indie players running, 1 or 2 shielded ships. These are beasts. I mean, even in the main game, it's an Excelsior class, but it's a Vulcan Excelsior class, which means there's some extra things you can do. We are going to use the Dakir. There are several other Dakir classes. You've got the Saleya, gets a bonus defense dice if you've got a scan token beside it with double weapons. You've got the Talkir, which is a double crew variant. And you've got the Vishar and the Kirshara, which are 2 newer versions of them. However, the Dakir gets double tech. The Vulcans like their tech. And it's got a nice ability. When you fire at range 3, get a bonus attack dice. Nothing wrong with that. We'll go to captains. Now, we have a couple of them here. You may see our dual faction, Federation Vulcan, Mr. Spock and Solok, Captain of the Enterprise and Captain of the Tucumbra, respectively. And I know people are going to say he was Captain of the Enterprise. Kirk was the Admiral. It was only after Kirk got demoted he became Captain of the Enterprise again. So, he has his ability with the ambassadors. There are Vulcan ambassadors, as I have said in my previous ambassadors video. If you didn't see that, go and watch it. I go into full detail about all the ambassadors. He also gives a free scan or target lock every round. Not a bad idea, and scan is what Vulcans like. Almost every single captain you will see here has something to do with a scan token. Solok allows you to sensor echo after you scan. T'Pau means that you can, if you've got a scan token in the end phase, you can trade that in for a battle station's evade, which stay over till next turn. So, it's a nice way of getting continual quality. And actually, I think T'Pau might be where we go. Now, she's only 5 skill, 4 points. So she's expensive for a low skill. But she has a really nice ability, especially if you can get multiple scan tokens. Which there are ways. Admiral. We have a single Admiral, Valas, the head of the Vulcan High Command in the NX era. He targets a ship at range 1 to 2 and disables a crew upgrade on their ship. Not a bad action. I mean, it's a disable. I mean, so you'd really want him to be at high captain skill, so you can disable it after the enemy's already done it. Or you could do it before, and it stops the enemy from using that crew upgrade, as they'll have to use their action to re-enable him. I mean, again, in a one-on-one ship, there's no reason to not bring the Admiral. It's a bonus captain skill and a bonus elite talent slot. But his action's not bad. It's like a boarding party. It's a mini boarding party that doesn't require their shields down. Could be good. Now, again, starship construction upgrades. There are no Vulcan locked or unique ones, but it is able to put on the Dominion retrofit if you wanted it, or the ablative generator. I mean, this is the Dakir and the Dakir class, so it's almost eligible for Federation prototype. It just needs a USS. But so we've got two talent slots. We have Pals and Valas. So depending on what you want to do, we have the Vatosh Katur. You discard the card and up to 3 upgrades or shields, and you get an attack dice for everything you discarded. So that's for your huge alpha strike. Now that's just when attacking. That doesn't have to be primary weapon. Doesn't have to be a particular range. That's just, I can spend my shields for an alpha strike. We are going to take Vatosh Katur. I do like Vatosh Katur. Now, Diplomacy is a very, very powerful card. You discard it, target enemy ship, and you discard all tokens from beside your ship and their ship, apart from Orc power tokens. And this round, neither your ship nor that ship can fire or be fired at. It completely, like stasis bubbles, your ship and the opponent's ship. Now, on your main warship, maybe not the best idea, but sticking Diplomacy down on a little support ship just to come up and go blip and neuter their capital ship for a turn is amazing. And also discarding all tokens, so it gets rid of all their battle stations, evades, scans, gets rid of any sort of token like that. It would also get rid of any cloak tokens, so it's really nice to decloak a permacloak ship. Now, while you can't attack them, what it does do is it discards their cloak token. Their shields are still down. If you have anything else which messes with them, boarding actions, abilities that steal, anything that's not reliant on an attack to do, that's perfect time to do it. Vulcan High Command. Right, you add 2 more slots. Never a bad shout. Now, if the captain is ever discarded, then you have to remove upgrades from your ship until everything's upgraded. The idea is that he brings along additional support, but if he ever leaves, the support goes with him. So those are 2. We have got a couple more. Live long and prosper. It's it's a very, very, very infrequent ability. It's got a nice possibility. You discard the card, target an opposing ship at the start of the activation phase, roll 4 dice. If 3 of them are evades, both you and them can't attack this round. So it's like a conditional non-action diplomacy. So it requires you rolling 3 evades on 4 defense dice. Quite unlikely. However, not impossible. And for 3 points and a not an action, if you think, oh okay, I might die this round, throw that at them, because if it works, hey, you've bought yourself another turn and you have still got your action. Now, logic is the beginning of wisdom. This is a very, very interesting card. So at the start of the activation phase, you put target an opposing ship, or target any ship, sorry. You may take a time token, continuous effect, or permanent effect token from this ship, so the ship that you are on, or a card on this ship, to the opponent, to this targeted ship, or a card of the same type. So the easy way of doing it is to take at the start of the activation phase, take a time token off one of your crew upgrades and give it to an opponent's crew upgrade. You've just recharged yours and time token theirs, or weaponry. Other ways you can do it, there are some ship cards that put time tokens on them. You can make them recharge slower, so stop the Goss's Marauder from being able to rebuild upgrades so often, or anything like that. However, continuous and permanent effect tokens, Now, there is not very many of these in the game, but the big two at the moment are bounty and reputation tokens. Now, these generally have no ways of making themselves remove from the game. As they stand, once they're on your ship, the effect is in play for the entire game, even if the card that put them on is discarded, leaves the board, or anything else. Reputation token is a neutering effect from Darla, from Voyager, the Janeway imposter. And bounty tokens are usually either from the Hazari mercenaries or from Kuros, from the think tank. Both of them are terrifying. The bounty tokens give 3 points of conversion whenever anything of yours fires at the bounty ship, and the reputation token turns whatever ship you put it next to into an opposing ship for their own fleet. Suddenly it destroys any synergy and it locks out all sort of target a friendly ship. That ship's not friendly anymore. They can be terrifying abilities, and if someone goes, here, your Vulcan ship, you're no longer part of your own fleet, you're an opposing ship for all abilities, logic at the beginning of wisdom can send that token over to the opponent. Or give them a bounty token instead and give you the benefit. So there is a lot of potential for logic at the beginning of wisdom. Now, it is locked to Vulcan ship, Vulcan captain. There's no real way around that apart from with law, because law allows you to ignore the faction limitations and faction restrictions of any elite talent that he is equipped that you want to equip to him. However, it's only 2 points as well, so it's a nice ability. Now, it's not going to happen all the time, and realistically, what you're really going to be using it is for reloading your weaponry or occasionally your crew. But there is some real possibilities there. But for now, we're going to stick to Vatoshka Tur and the Vulcan High Command. So, we have tech and crew upgrades. Let's look for the crew upgrades first. So, we have Mr. Spock in his crew version. You got a scan token, you get battle station to hit conversions. We're not going to need that, I don't think. Now, we've got a couple of the older, more expensive crew. We've got Solin for some shield repair, Kov for some shield or hull repair. Murok gives a chance for decloaking enemy ships. Tuvok. Now again, Tuvok's a Federation officer. However, everyone that is a Vulcan faction in the modern packs got the Vulcan sub-faction symbol as well. Same as all the Bajoran crew got the Bajoran sub-faction. Again, it's so that they can benefit from, you know, anything that says all Vulcan crew get this, all Vulcan crew get that, target a Vulcan crew upgrade, all those sort of things. Now, Tuvok is nice. Action, battle station or a target lock is a free action, and then do a crew action. Federation crew action is a free action. Nice ability. Vulcan Commandos. Now, these are an interesting one. If you're not cloaked, disable your shields. Target a ship that is not cloaked and has no shields. Now, you have to discard this and any number of other Vulcan Commando crew upgrades. You want to bring lots of these. For each crew upgrade you discarded, disable one upgrade of your choice on the target ship and gain a bonus attack dice. Now, you're thinking, hang on, they're not close and have no active shields. What am I doing here? Well, if, for example, you're going up against someone that doesn't bring shields, the Zindi Weapon, NX Enterprises, original series, or sorry, NX era Romulan Birds of Prey, or just a ship that had their shields destroyed, this action gives you a bunch of bonus dice and disabled lots of stuff on their ship. If you've bought lots of them, if you've really gone in for the sort of like the Vulcan nesting dolls and you've bought 4 or 5 copies of this, A, you're a bit mad because that's a lot of points, but there's ways to get Vulcan crew upgrades cheaper. But also, it's just a way of going and, right, disable the entire ship, which means that when you actually go to kill them, it makes it a lot easier. We have a version of T'Pol here. There are actually several versions of T'Pol. This one allows you to spend a scan token to reroll up to 2 defense dice. That's not a bad upgrade. Certainly not. And it doesn't even require you to disable her, which again is quite nice. However, we have this T'Pol. Add a crew upgrade, and as an action, have a scan token and +2 captain skill, which puts you at captain skill 8 with T'Pol now, when you use that. Very nice. Other upgrades we've got a load of cheapy ones here. Valeris gets you an evade token every time you do a green maneuver. No reason to not bring her. Kos. Cost is a 1 for protection. So if someone tries to steal something from your ship, discard something from your ship, anything like that, cost protects it. If something was to go, bam, disable 3 upgrades, cost goes shield, protects everything, and then discards. So, you know, none of your other upgrades can be affected by your opponents. Now, that's not by your opponent's crew cards or weapon. That is, while he's on your ship, none of your other upgrades can be affected by your opponents in any way. Now, that does mean your captain, admirals, you know, those don't count as upgrades, so they could be messed with. So you could have Kos on board and someone could still use Gulmadred or Tara to snipe your captain out. But if someone comes up and goes, steal your crew upgrade, Kos gets discarded instead of them stealing it. So it's a really nice ability, and it's only 2 points. Now, for other crew upgrades, we're going to quickly go back here. There is a couple more of very, very, very cheap ones. We've got Sarvik, gives you some defensive bonuses. T'Pal hides the Stone of Gol. Another 2 Vok for a disabled for a scan token. Taurik, disable the discard and spend a scan token to repair a shield. And to disable him and spend a scan, it's a lot for a shield repair. Sonak and Salar. And then you've got, you know, there's a handful of other ones. But Vorik. When defending, 3 time tokens on him to remove a target lock or a battle stations token from the attacking ship, and you get a scan token. Brilliant. Not only does it neuter their quality, but also it gives you a scan token. Now, there is obviously the thing of, if someone goes, right, I'm firing at you, and you go, right, Vorik, boom, remove. If you remove their target lock, they're now not able to fire a weapon that would require that target lock, because they haven't got it anymore. So, if someone goes, right, I'm going to fire my torpedoes at you, you can then use Vorik, remove their target lock token, and now their torpedoes are not able to be fired at you. They can still fire at you, because obviously they declare that they go, right, I'm firing at you, you go, remove this token, they could fire upon weapon instead. But it can stop them from firing massive shots, or even if they can fire normally, it gets rid of their quality. So, we've got a 2 tech and a weapon upgrade. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to put on the tech upgrades that really, really, really work, and then I'll quickly talk about them. And then we're going to go there. So, the 2 upgrades we've gone for, or I've gone for here, are a science vessel variant. So, there is a science and a combat vessel variant. Both of them are able to go on Surok or Dakir classes. It's 1 per ship. You can't equip both of them to the same ship. The science vessel variant adds +1 to your hull and agility value. Now you're a 6 hull, 2 agility ship. The combat vessel variant replaces your primary weapon with printed value +1, which would make this thing base 4. That's nice, and it means that you can then rule of 3 it up to 7, but not what we're going with this one. And then translinear sensors. When attacking, if you've got a scan token beside this ship, place 3 time tokens on this card. The defending ship may not roll more than 2 defense dice. So it caps them at 2. So the way this would work is, as with all attack and defense dice numbers, it's a total sum. You add together all of your bonuses, they add in all of their minuses, and then that you get the final number. If that final number is larger than ±3, it gets set to 3. That's the rule of 3. So if you've got +5 and they've got -2, that's fine, it hits 3. If you've got +2 and they've got -5, it goes down to -3, and that caps it. However, this is a replacement value. So you could be firing at a cloaked ship, say the Scimitar, which gets 2 dice normally, 4 dice for cloak, so 6. And it's got a +3, so it's running a 9 defense dice. So you've got translinear sensors. You go, when attacking, in the roll defense dice step, you put 3 time tokens on it. So they go, right, how many defenses do I get to roll? You go, right, base 2, add 4 for cloak, add 3 from their abilities. Then you might say, well, I've got a scan token, so you count as -1. Okay. Then you go, right, is that number more than 2? Yes. Then it gets set to 2. So translinear sensors are an amazing tool. Now, 1 per fleet, because otherwise everyone would use them and they'd be broken. And 3 time tokens. You can't use them all the time. However, it's a really good way of making sure that your Alpha Strike hits hard. Especially when we use, that was rather good aiming, this. Now this is the Photonic Autocannon. This is the coup de grace, the absolute cream of the crop for Vulcan weaponry. They have a section of others, photonic weaponry, which is basically like blank re-rolling torpedoes. They've got some half particle beams. However, the Photonic Autocannon, it's forward arc and rear arc, so you get 270-degree coverage. It's locked to a Vulcan ship, not a problem. If you've got a scan token beside you, 3 time tokens, fire at the enemy, and you get 3 battle station to hit conversions. So, the combination here would be you'd go action to pole, increase your captain skill by 2, and get a scan token. Well, hey, if the enemy fires at you first, you can pick up Vorik. If you wanted to be able to do lots and lots and lots of this at the same time, I'll take Valeris off, and we're going to go for Chulak. Now, Chulak is a free action, have 3 scan tokens. But in the end phase, if you use Chulak's free action, you must discard a crew upgrade equipped to this ship. Because it's him, he is the Vulcan that's going through his emotional problems with the TR-116 transporter rifle. Him and Esri have their sniper duel on Deep Space Nine. So, you'd go action to pole, free action Chulak. Gives you 4 scan tokens. You don't need 4 scan tokens, but say you go for it. It's your turn to fire. You go Photonic Autocannon, Vatoshkatur, discard 3 upgrades. Now you could discard Chulak or, just all your shields. Say you throw all your shields. So that's plus 3. Now you have a Photonic Autocannon's rolling 8 dice. You roll your 8 dice. If you've got a Battle Stations token from last round, it's good for defense because this gets 3 conversions. So, you go all your hits, Battle Stations to hits. Out of 8 dice, you're going to roll an average 4 hits or crits, 2 Battle Stations, 2 blanks. So on average, you've got 6 damage out of this. And then you go Translinear Sensors. Means the enemy's got 2 defense dice max. Now, of course, they can still spend evade tokens. They can still cancel dice through other means. It just caps their defense dice. But that's 4 damage that's going through. They're going to have to cancel in other ways. Against some ships that, for example, the NX Enterprise, that's an 8 dice attack. They can roll 2 defense dice max. They're going to get 2 free evades thanks to the enhanced hull plating. That's a maximum of 4 evades. You could got a maximum of 8 damage. If you max out and even if they max out, that's still a dead ship. Now, yes, it does mean that at the end phase you have to discard Chulak or another crew upgrade. You don't have to discard him. So you could discard Koss instead to keep Chulak around for another round. So, this is scan-heavy monster ship. Again, this is not as hard as it could be. There is things you can do, especially if you want to go cross-factioning. There is stuff you can do here. You could put on the Stone of Gull with T'Pal. She's a good way of discarding stuff of enemy ships if you get close. I said logic is the beginning of wisdom, would allow you to reload Vorik or the Translinears or the Photonic Autocannon much faster. You could have a different captain that gives you, say, Spock, that gives you a free target lock every round to make sure your Photonic Autocannon hits harder. There is also a tech upgrade called the Catric Arc, which is discard, where every time a Vulcan crew upgrade is discarded, put it under the Catric Arc, and as an action you can re-equip one of them, allowing you to bring Chulak or Koss back from the dead once. So, this is the Vulcans. Scan shenanigans are the order of the day. They are absolutely loving it, but as you can see from Vatoshkatur, the Vulcan Commandos, and the autocannon, they have the ability to be, even against the 24th century level of stuff, a powerhouse of damage and durability. So, thank you very much. This is the final one of the smaller mini factions. The only thing left to do is Independent. Now, Independent is a huge faction because it's not one faction. It covers everything that doesn't have a faction of its own. So what I'm going to do is do several smaller videos that highlight one particular ship class out of each one, and try and, you know, stick to what could go on that ship. But yeah, so that's going to be the next few videos, and then I'm going to start on going back over and starting to do newer versions of other factions. So start doing some more Federation, Klingon, Romulan ships. If you have any requests, your favourite ship, a particular character you want me to see, then again, drop it in the comments and I will get to it. And otherwise, thank you very much.